Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Juni's Café, a series where we learn, share, and grow by putting our thoughts into the ether. I'm your host, Juni. And before we begin, let me just say thank you so much for listening. I really do appreciate every single one of you. I think you're all amazing. And you're right, your boss should give you a raise. With me today, I have the one, the only. You know her as a very popular drag queen here in San Marcos. She famously permanently damaged the Stonewall Warehouse. It's none other than the Zesty Italian. Welcome. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Do you go by Zesty? Do you go by the Zesty Italian always? The Italian, like, is it like always the full name, or is it like Zesty, the.
So when they introduce me on stage, I always tell them to introduce me as the Zesty Italian, and then I get onto them because they never say the Z, and for some reason I think the Zesty Italian sounds a lot stupider than the Zesty Italian. But when we're just talking and stuff in the back, we just go by Zesty.
Got it. Okay, yeah, that's valid. That's valid. I feel like it's not that hard to just say the Zesty Italian. I feel like you just, because it adds like a little oomph to it.
But drag queens are lazy, so they just like to cut it.
Have you had a lot of experiences like that where since you're bringing it up, do you feel like that's like true, or in terms of like drag culture, or is that like just, are you just throwing shade?
I mean, the first time I ever came out in drag, they were like, "Oh, what's your name?" I was like, "Oh, I'm the Zesty Italian," and they go, "That's too long. We're just gonna call you Zesty."
So you I know that you've done drag here in San Marcos. Have you done or performed drag in any other cities or areas?
I have performed in Austin and San Antonio occasionally. Um, when I first started, literally for the last the first 4 years or whatever, it was really hard for me to get to other cities other than San Marcos because I lived on a farm in the middle of nowhere, and Stonewall Warehouse was the closest gay club or drag venue to me within under an hour. And the city I grew up in and lived in was not that open to that, so there wasn't any drag things happening in Canyon Lake, Texas.
So Stonewall Warehouse, that was your first, that was the first place you performed in, correct?
Correct.
Oh wow. So do you remember your first performance and what that was like?
I do. I actually still have the video too.
How was it? Or like, what was going through your head or through your mind when that was like, when you were going through that?
That I remember. So I remember the experience. Me and my friend went together, and we both had a rough day. I had just broke up with my first boyfriend, and she just found out she was pregnant.
Sounds like a lot. Yeah, that's
a lot going on, and I remember watching the show, and I went in drag. It was the second time I ever had gone out in drag, and I remember watching the show, thinking, watching the performers do their thing and thinking, that stage is where I need to be. Thinking that's where I need to be. And just in general, I was going through a lot of stuff in my life, and I remember the first time I performed, I was saying in my head, I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I up on the stage? um, and these weird ass clothes. Uh, but I remember having like such just like a release of like everything. Like for a moment in time, I wasn't Jesse. I wasn't going through what Jesse was going through. I was a zesty Italian, and people were cheering me on, and it was great. And I remember just having that release of everything, and for that short moment of time, everything in life was good. And I
Ah,
remember being
I
like,
love.
I want to feel this so many more times. I want to be the zesty Italian and not Jesse.
Mm. That sounds beautiful. Um, did you? Because I know that Zesty Italian is a very eccentric character. Like compared to the other drag queens in San Marcos, your character does stand out as very. It's very like scary, like um I don't know how to describe. I don't know how to describe this as, like, I don't know how to describe you in like your aesthetic. It's very, because it's not necessarily feminine. It's more so like 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 a piece of art. It's like a painting. I feel like when I see you do drag, it's like, you know, like those paintings that you see that are kind of like, this is, you know, this is like a caricature, which is tends to what most, you know, most drag tends to be, you know, a caricature of femininity. But I feel like yours is, I really like your take on it. How long did it take for you to like land on that aesthetic? Did you toy with other aesthetics before you found the area that you felt comfortable in?
Yeah, so I actually like before I got to Stonewall, I was like bedroom queen and like an Instagram queen for a while, like maybe a year or two. Um, so I wasn't performing, but I was still doing like the makeup and stuff. Uh, and I don't know. Um, I was always more like, because it didn't necessarily like start of like, oh, I want to do drag or whatever. And I think that's
Mm.
kind of like where it like what like difference like me from like other queens is I didn't start thinking that I was gonna do drag. I just wanted to make art on my face.
Mm.
But there was a time before I started like performing, like going into that, I was like, I was in my head like going like I'm gonna be such like a fishy, like I'm gonna look just like a real woman, like queen. Like I thought that's what I was gonna do, and then I started putting on makeup, and like I don't know, something just took over, and I ended up with the lips that I use now, and like all the weird makeup.
Yeah, your lips are very signature. They're very because you do like the little like triangle like M, like a very exaggerated. It's like, you know, you would, you look like, I feel like if I were to describe like your the Zesty Italian, it's like that's something that came out of like a like of a cartoon or a like an animated piece of media, which I love. Um, so in the areas that you've worked on and with the people that you've worked on, how would you say the, of course, the queer community in general, but specifically the drag community, how has that place been for you? Have you felt like they've been welcoming? Have you felt like it took them a while for you to feel comfortable, or how has that been for you?
So it's funny because so like going in, I was like, because I've never in my life fit in. Like
Mm.
I've never been a person that just fit in. Um, and I don't know, maybe I just like I guess I realized that like now that I'm older, I realize that like most people try to fit in. And I guess like I just never had the capacity or whatever to try to fit in.
Yeah.
So when I was like first invited to Stonewall by one of the queens off of Grindr, I
Classic.
was like, yeah, one of the queens. I'm not gonna say who, but one of the like drag queens was like, yeah, I have a show, you know, like trying to like with me. I have a show, you should come watch. And I, as naive as always, was like, yeah, no, that sounds fun. And then later my friend was like, yeah, she was trying to sleep with you, Jesse. And I had no clue. Like,
It happens.
but
That's-
yeah. Sorry, I forgot that initial question.
Oh, no.
So I went in there. I remember it now. I went in there being like, yeah, I'm gonna fit into this place. You know, I like in my mind, I thought I was gonna fit in, and then I got there, and I was like, well, shit, I still don't fit in. Like, I'm still weirder than anyone else in here. But like the difference between like the real world and like the drag community was like they like most people in like the drag and queer community weren't opposed to me being weird like in the real world. However, with that being said, I still, and to this day, I struggle to like get bookings and stuff because a lot of other drag queens doesn't consider what I do to be like real drag.
How so? Is what would other drag queens consider to be real drag, if I may ask?
Like the like not to sound like shady, but like the average like drag queen, you know,
like a drag queen
doing
that
it by the
can,
book drag queen.
Yeah, so one that can like pull off like a Kim Kardashian or Ariana Grande look. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes. Yeah, because like when you typically think drag queen, that's like the like you know, if you look up drag queen in the dictionary, that's like the picture that you see attached to it, which is yes, and drag is so it's a lot more diverse than people think it is, but it's of course because of the style that RuPaul popularized, and then of course because cisgender women took on they started using a lot of the makeup tactics that drag queens were using on their everyday looks. It kind of even more so popularized that style of drag, and it definitely does suck because it basically says anyone that tries something else or does a different style is like, well, it's a little weird. But I feel like it also kind of like sets you apart, doesn't it?
And I feel like that's a lot why like I feel like that is a lot of the reason why I'm so well liked here. Also, let me just like put something out there real quick. Stonewall and most of Stonewall drag queens, with like the exception of a few, are very like open to my drag. So Stonewall's, for the most part, with the exception of a few people, I've always been like very there for my drag. But I'd like to think it's because San Marcos and Austin is more of like an artsy community. You know what I mean? But yeah. I do think I do think what kind of set me apart, and I think why I became uh, really liked within like the small little like San Marcos town, is because you don't see another me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get on stage and you go, oh, you know,
That could any other drag queen could do that.
yeah, I don't. Which any other drag queen could, but I don't get on stage and you go, oh, I've seen this number done before.
Yeah, like I think I remember this one time you showed me the video of you doing the blood thing. Did you want to tell did you want to tell people that story that I did briefly mention before? Yes.
So, I I'm a really creative person, and I have really like I have really big ideas. However, sometimes I don't execute them probably as well if I could have executed things. And sometimes it get me in a bit of trouble. And sometimes I misjudge a few things. So one night we did a prom show. And I heard prom, and my mind, my little weird mind, instantly went to Carrie. And the iconic blood spatter. So I go, I want to do that. And I really misjudged how much a 5-gallon bucket is. 5 gallons is a lot.
It is.
So I had one of my friends come on stage and pour this blood that I, in the driveway of my dad's house, mixed with flour, Kool-Aid powder, and water.
Oof. Yeah. 5 gallons?
A whole 5-gallon bucket.
Oh. Ugh.
That my dad let me borrow. And I had a tarp that was like, you saw the tarp. It wasn't that big. It also had a hole in the middle of it. Yeah. And in my mind, that tarp was gonna solve all my problems. Yeah, so my friend poured it out, and it went all over the stage, all over the crowd, all over the like runway. It went everywhere. And it was also pink. I didn't mix it well.
It didn't look like blood.
It looked like Pepto-Bismol.
It
also, even grosser, because of, I guess, like how I did it. Like, I don't know what I mixed in to make this do it, but it started coagulating. So it started like clumping together. I guess the flour started clumping together when it like cooled down. Which makes sense because it's science.
Yeah.
So it started clumping together. So there was like clumps of like pink like sludge all over the stage, all over me. It clumped the hair dye out of my hair.
Oof.
So my hair turned white.
Oh my god.
And then like what you don't see in the video of the performance is them having to close half a stone wall because of it.
So were you like the last person to perform, or was there supposed to be someone after you?
No, I was the last person to perform, but there was supposed to be like the prom queen crowning after me, which still happened, just not on stage.
Oh goodness.
And the stage is still stained pink to this day.
Yes, I've seen the stage. very much is. I thought for the longest time I thought that was just how it was supposed to be, like it was just part of the wood, like, and or whatever.
And then you know how like there's pieces of like the paint from the stage missing?
I don't think I've noticed that hard.
Well, there's like
but,
pieces of the paint from the stage missing from them trying to scrub it off.
Makes sense.
So I'll always, like, I left my mark on Stonewall. They almost completely banned me.
I mean, I feel like that's a valid response. Why did they not?
Because I informed the host of the show and and the bar manager, so they knew it was gonna happen. But I don't think that they realized that, because I also carried that like 5-gallon bucket of fake blood, like 5 blocks, and then up the Stonewall stairs. And I brought it, and they saw it, and I don't think either of them realized I was using the entire bucket.
Yeah, that.
I also was very apologetic. Like, I had a full mental breakdown in the back. It was one of 3 times I've cried at Stonewall. Was that night.
Oh, wait. So, like, now I need to ask, what were the other 2 times?
So, the first time it was after I did a number dedicated to my mom.
Oh.
Like on her birthday, I did a number. No, it was on the day she passed away. I did a number. The anniversary of the day she passed away, like a year or 2 after. I did a number dedicated to my mom, and I was like sobbing in the entire performance. And then the second time, I have an older brother, and he's not very accepting of everything. He's not great. He's really not. He's said horrible things to me based off of, my sexuality and stuff. And he didn't know that I did drag. And one time I was leaving the dressing room, and he was up at Stonewall because the girl he was with wanted to go see the drag show I was in. So he saw me in drag.
Did he recognize you?
No, he didn't recognize me.
Oh.
But just like the shock of that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it felt, because like I started doing drag to like escape my life, and like Stonewall and like drag was like my escape to life. It was where I didn't have to deal with all the things I had to deal with in my like regular day. So when I saw my brother, it felt like all of like the like, because it was still during why my life was just horrible. And it felt like all of the horribleness from my real life was coming into my escape, and like was like invading like my peace, and like the only place that I was like happy.
Yeah. Do you miss performing? I know that, this past year it's been hard for a lot of queens to perform and get on stage and, book. Have you gotten the chance to, perform, or how has that been, this past year for you?
So, during all this, I've performed twice. Yeah, they opened all bars, and then like for like a weekend, And then like that Monday, they said that was a bad idea and shut everything back down. I performed that weekend, but I don't really remember it because it was my first weekend being in a bar 21. It was the first time I was in a bar as a 21-year-old. And I, going in there, made the decision that for once in my life, I was going to not be the sober drag queen. I was going to be the one that gets way too drunk.
Yeah.
Because I'm always the one driving everyone home. I'm always the one that doesn't drink. And still, I'm the one that's driving everyone home and doesn't drink.
But now you were like,
But that day, I was like, and I told them going in, I was like, I'm gonna be the drag queen that gets way too drunk and becomes a complete and total mess. I was like, I was so drunk that while I was performing, I fell on the ground and then just started rolling on the ground.
Oh my goodness. See, I miss clubbing. It's gonna take me a while for me to feel comfortable and get used to the idea of like going out and clubbing and like, you know, being stupid and childish, but I miss my youth. I feel like this is the time where I get to make bad decisions, like getting way too wasted, spending $90 in alcohol in one night, and rolling around the freaking stage. That I want to make dumb decisions like that because I'm still young and I want to be able to do stuff like that. Not that if you're old or older, you can't do that. Honestly, if you're older and you do stuff like that, more power to you. That I'm honestly love that. The thing is that like this past year I haven't been able to do any of that. I remember right before lockdown and before everything went to hay, was me and my friends started going to clubs and started going out and getting really drunk, and I'm a lightweight, so we would pregame and I would take like 2 shots and I would just be gone. Like I was it. And then I would drink some more in the club and then I would be so drunk, and my friend had like this purse that wasn't really a purse, it was a flask. And so we could sneak in like alcohol to the clubs without like, you know, getting caught. And it wasn't subtle. I honestly, because I like, if anyone properly noticed, they would have been like, that's not a purse, that's a flask. But like no one said anything, right? So it was good, and especially when we went to Austin, to 6th Street, and it's wild because before I turned 21, I never would have done any of that kind of stuff. Like I was so scared of any kind of substance or clubbing. I was very much of like social shut-in. I need to be indoors all the time. Clubs are horrible. But now that I'm literally indoors always, I'm like, I just want to go to a nightclub, but I don't want to die.
See, and what you just said, I cannot relate to at all, because I started like clubbing and shit at like 16. And now that I'm 21, I'm like, I just kind of want to stay in. like.
So like it's the opposite, really.
Yeah, I was really young when I started performing.
You were so. When did you start doing drag, and how old were you when you did your first performance?
So when I'm not gonna say any specifics.
Yes.
But I was around 18 when I performed first.
Okay. And then how old were you when you started doing drag, like not professionally, but just like for yourself?
15.
Around 15.
I started doing makeup when I was in 7th grade. My 14th birthday, my mom bought me like a special effects like makeup kit with like it had like a bruise wheel, and it had like a lot of like prosthetics for like cuts and stuff, and like fake blood. Fake blood's like a Zesty staple.
How was the reaction when your dad and your brother found out that you did drag?
Horrible. So, I used to, because my dad was not supportive of it. Like, even the idea, he wasn't supportive of me being gay for like a while. And then when he started being supportive, he was like, "Yeah, I'm fine with you being gay, but you can't dress like a woman." But that was like long after I started doing drag.
Yeah.
And so to like avoid, I would get ready and like I would get ready in our barn sometimes. If I didn't feel like I was good filling that, I would get ready in like gas station bathrooms and like my car and like parking garages. Like I would get ready everywhere. But I started getting ready at my mom's brother's wife's house, my Aunt Diana's house.
Got it.
It's my mom's brother is married, but they didn't live together because of my mom's brother's work.
I got it. I guess.
Yeah. So I was getting ready at my mom's brother's wife's house, my Aunt Diana's house, and I would get ready in my like, I just wherever I got ready, in my little cousin's room. I would like get in drag when my little cousin would play like video games, and we would like talk, and he would like my like they were really supportive.
I love that.
But one day I was getting ready, and I walked into the kitchen to like ask my aunt or to like talk to my aunt something, and my dad had decided to stop by.
Oh, awkward.
And my dad like lost it on me, freaked out on me, and told me that he didn't want me ever doing that again, blah blah blah. Was not very happy. I went to school very pissed off that next morning. So that wasn't great. My like older brother found out I did drag this January, and it was also not under good circumstances. It was by accident. January 26th, I was in a really bad car wreck. My car was totaled, and it was not going anywhere. So my dad started I called my dad, and I was like, hey, because my other brother was in town, and we were having family dinner.
Yeah.
So I called my dad and I was like, hey, I'm not making it to dinner. And he was like, what happened? I was like, I was in a bad car wreck, and like I'm not going anywhere. That was a lot less. Like I said that a lot calmer than I really did. I was like panicking. So my dad's like, I'm on my way. And then my dad called me like maybe 15 minutes and was like, hey, I'm not going to be there in time. I'm not going to be there for a while. I'm stuck in a wreck. And I was like, oh, ironically, I'm stuck in wreck traffic too. And then he was like, so your brother's on your way. And our relationship has not been great, just in general. And it at that time, it was kind of like getting better, but it wasn't like great, you know. So I was mad that my dad called him, and then he also called my oldest brother, and then he got there, and when like we were like, yeah, you're not gonna see this car for a while. If you see it, my dad was like, okay, let's get all your stuff out of it. And I had a lot of drag in there. So that's how my brother, the middle child, found out I did drag.
Yeah.
The oldest already knew.
Got it. So are you the youngest?
I'm the youngest of three.
You're the baby.
I have a brother that's 23, about to turn 24, and I have a brother that just turned 30.
Wow. Do you I of course I've never done a drag. I think I had a pretty good experience with my family. Um Regarding, because I know that for in drag, like the concept of family is very, it's like different because you have a drag mother and you can have like drag children. Did you have a drag mom, or do you have any drag daughters, or is that what they're called, or drag children?
I have a drag mother, um, and I'm part of a drag family. Uh, my drag mother is Janessa Hart, and then I have multiple children.
Oh my god, wait, who are your children?
I have, you might not know them. I have a drag son named Emmanuel Fuck.
Love that.
A great name, Emmanuel Fuck.
I love that. It's a beautiful name.
Yeah, I have a drag daughter named Froggy,
Oh, that's so
which I
cute.
actually live with now.
Wait, what?
I actually live with now.
Oh, cute.
And then I have another drag daughter named Dahlia.
So, how does the process of you getting a drag daughter go, or getting a drag mom? Like, how do you develop a drag family? Or a drag son, because I know that, there's, drag kings as well.
So I think it's different for everyone, because sometimes it's like they came and put you in drag first. Um, with me, I had been doing drag for a little bit already, and my drag mother Janessa was like, "Hey, I think you're really talented. I think you have a lot of potential. Um, I also think you're a fucking mess, and I would like to take you under my wing." Uh, and like my drag son and my drag daughter Froggy are some of my best friends from high school,
Hmm.
and they after they like, because I'm the oldest in my friend group from high school, but after they like became old enough to like come and stuff, they came and they were like, "Hey Jesse, um, or hey Zesty, I I really want to do drag. Can you help us with that?" And my drag daughter Froggy is actually a bio queen.
Ah, I love that. So, tell us, for people that don't know, I mean, just in case anyone listening to this doesn't know what a bio queen or a bio king is, um, how would you describe that to be your, uh, I mean, I feel like I could describe it, but I'm not like within the drag community. So like, uh, what is a bio king or a bio queen?
So drag queen. I always like, drag queen is not like a, it's not like a set in stone thing. Like it's not like a um I can't think of the word, but it's not like a set in stone thing. It's more of like an umbrella term
Yeah,
to like describe performers that, you know,
play with gender.
perform in drag. So a bio queen or king is AFAB
Mm-hmm.
cis person that does drag. So a bio queen would be a cis woman that's a drag queen, and a bio king would be a cis man that's a drag king.
Yeah, I do know. I know that one. I got a chance to perform with one bio king, not while he was in like, you know, his, not like while he was like doing a performance, but like, you know, are you familiar? Do you know Gregory Joseph Gray? Yeah, I love him. He's amazing. He has like his own podcast. Um, he's a bio king, and he is so much fun to like hang around and to dance with, and he's really his freestyle like takes like shakes me. Um, And that's like how and I watching him perform, and I was like, I love that you can, when you really think about drag, it's not just about this like binary kind of drag where it's like a cisgender man performs as a like as a feminine hype, like a version, like something that a what a woman should look like. Because it's, people think of drag, and people think, like of a white gay man dressing up like, I don't know, Lady Gaga or Kim Kardashian, right? That's what, yeah, that's like this, exactly, like a stereotypical image of what that would be. But really, drag is so much, it varies. There's drag performers that do stuff like you do, where it's more, instead of being like a vision of femininity, it's still feminine, it's still, but it's like more like horror, more like face paint, like it's more of a it's not accentuating like the female body features, whereas there's also like bio kings and queens who can still make a like an artistic caricature of like of womanhood or of manhood. And I think that's what I really appreciate of the drag community, or and of like people who do drag. And I think that's what's so awesome. Now, really quick, because we're nearing the end, did you have anything that you were working on, that you wanted to promote, or that you wanted to, or any social media that you wanted to share?
So, I guess I should start with like my drag account.
Yes.
I guess that would make sense for me to promote that on the podcast of me talking about drag.
Yeah.
But it's me, and my friend just texted me to remind me to do that. My friend that used to run my drag account because I'm horrible.
Yeah.
So my drag account is the THE _Zesty ZESTY _ Italian ITALIAN.
Okay, awesome. And I'll leave a link in the bio, so that they'll be able to find your account and your information.
But I also do have a really cool project I'm working on with my good friends Wesmer.
Oh, the band?
Yeah.
By the way, if you're not familiar with Westmer, they're a local San Marcos band, and they, I got the chance to like be at an event and perform at an event where they were also performing. Their music is pretty dope. Definitely check them out. I'm also gonna leave their information below. Are you able to give out any details for the project you're working on, or is it like hush hush?
I don't know, but I'm gonna. So Wesmer is also, they're not just a band, they're trying to make more of like a art hub community thing. So definitely check them out. They also, like, hands down, one of my favorite bands. Like, and I'm not just saying that because I'm friends with them. They produce some good music. But late last year, I had lunch with 2 of the members, and we sat down and they approached me about this idea that they wanted to do, and they wanted me to kind of like spearhead and like get like all the queens together. So we're basically making a calendar with a bunch of like San Marcos queens that we all love, like Iridescent's in it, Love Jones in it, and I would have to look at my list to remember who else is in it. I'm in it. My 2 drag kids Emmanuel Fuck and Froggy are in it, and there's some banging ideas that we've been talking about, but also we wanted to try and do something a little different. So instead of doing like a calendar where you put it out, you get to use it for a year, and then like you don't ever get it to use it again. We're gonna try and put out a calendar that you can use it universally.
Mm.
So, and we haven't like quite figured it out yet. But we are trying to like design this calendar where like when whatever year you're on is done, like say it comes up 2022, once 2022 is done, you don't have to throw that shit away, you can just reuse it.
You can always use it. You can always do like a 13-month calendar that all. Again, just randomly throwing out an idea because I know that the Gregorian calendar. I have lots of thoughts on the Gregorian calendar, which is the current calendar system that we use. It is atrocious. I hate it. It just there do like there don't need to. Why do some months have 30 days and other 30? It doesn't make sense. I have very strong feelings on this. If we had 12 months with if we had 13 months with 28 days, it would line up perfectly. There wouldn't be any leap years. It would just be perfect. But no, we can't do that. And whatever. But yeah, that sounds like an awesome idea. Do you know when that's gonna be out?
No,
Valid.
it's still in like the development process. We have all the months assigned and stuff. I'll just say mine is October.
That's very thematic for the Zesty Italian. Yeah.
And I have my plan, my idea is it's a good one.
Love that. Okay.
Yeah, I'm very confident with this, with what I'm doing and that, so.
I love that. Well, we'll definitely look forward to that. And I'll leave all the links to your socials and to, of course, Wesmer and their socials so that they can check that out once that comes out. If you like this podcast, please feel free to like, share, subscribe, and please turn on the notification bell. That's the number one way that you can support this. That way you can be notified when I upload new content every single Tuesday. I love y'all so much, and I do hope you have a very, very lovely day. Please stay safe. Bye bye.